Poor old Peter Mandelson cannot catch a break. Last week, he suffered an ignominious double blow. No sooner had he lost the vote to be the Chancellor of Oxford University to his old sparring partner William Hague, than it was reported that the other job he had his eye on, British ambassador to the United States, might also slip from his grasp. MI6 chief Sir Richard Moore was said to also be in contention for the gig, one of the plum roles in world diplomacy. During campaigning for the chancellorship, Hague had warned that Mandelson could not do both jobs simultaneously as they would be incompatible. Mandelson countered that it would not be a problem as the Chancellor of Oxford is only a ceremonial figurehead. He may end up with neither. Given the uncertainty over Trump's policies, there is a good argument for keeping the present, highly respected ambassador there for, say, a year, and review the appointment then, says Sir Nigel Sheinwald, who was ambassador to the EU from 2000 to 2003, and ambassador to the US from 2007 to 2012. But no doubt number 10 want to decide if a political figure could provide a secret sauce for handling the Trump team. Compared to other ambassadorial postings which are suggested by the Foreign Office and rubber-stamped by government, the U.S. ambassadorship is thought to be one of the few roles where a political appointee can be effective if they have the network and status to bend the ear of leaders on both sides of the Atlantic. The great unpredictable element is Donald Trump. Sir Keir Starmer was widely thought to be delaying his decision until he knew the outcome of the U.S. presidential election. During Trump's first term, Sir Kim Derrick had to resign after messages were leaked in which he said Trump's administration was inept and insecure, provoking the president into retorting that Derrick was not well liked or well thought of, and that his government would no longer deal with him. Now we know Trump is back. Whoever represents the UK in Washington will have to deal with a president and wider administration that could not be further from the traditional image of sober professionalism the Foreign Office likes to project. If, as is widely thought, the contest has come down to Moore v. Mandelson, it makes for an intriguing matchup. The spook versus the Prince of Darkness. The institutional master versus the arch-political animal. Mandelson, one of the architects of New Labour, who is also European Commissioner for Trade from 2004 to 2008, certainly has the requisite nous. Peter Mandelson is still one of the most charismatic figures in British politics, says John McTernan, a former political secretary to Tony Blair. He's a global figure, and he has the experience from being European Commissioner, which is invaluable, because of that sense of negotiating and existing in that diplomatic sphere, which as Trade Commissioner you are. He is one of the most thoughtful and insightful strategists I've ever come across. He is somebody who would be recognized by the American political elite on both sides, and I think that is relevant. The UK-US position is diplomatic. It's based on a number of alliances, but it is also a political one. Over time, we've also had political high commissioners in South Africa and Australia, because those have special close relationships with the UK. The question is, in the end, who is best able to make Britain's case and sustain the relationships in Britain's short, medium, and long-term interests? McTernan adds that Trump may not be put off by Mandelson's Labour provenance. With Trump, game recognizes game, he says. He would be treated respectfully by Trump because he would say they'd appointed someone of sufficient weight. President Trump thinks mainly about President Trump rather than the Republican Party or the United States. The Trump team has been very welcoming to David Lammy, who has said bad things about Trump in the past. So I think we can over-egg the extent to which Trump would have a problem with a Labour politician. Richard Moore's supporters make a persuasive case for their man too. The current head of the Secret Intelligence Service, Moore has had an enviable career as a spy and diplomat. Coming up under the cover of the Foreign Office, he was posted in Vietnam, Turkey, Iran, Pakistan, and Malaysia before he moved into a more conventional diplomatic career. In 2014, he was appointed ambassador to Turkey. In a speech last week, Moore said he had not, in 37 years, seen the world in a more dangerous state. As U.S. ambassador, he would be well placed to help make it safer, provided he could navigate Trump's eccentric inner circle. It's not so much, who do we want to put into Washington, as who do we dare put into Washington, says Alan Duncan, who worked closely with Moore during his time at the Foreign Office. There is this awkward dynamic of Nigel Farage pouring thoughts into Trump. And an ambassador has to be someone whose reputation has not been poisoned in advance. Brexit has become a litmus test. Trump's thinking, someone pro-European can't be good. I think this means Mandelson can't do it because he's not going to get on with Trump. The only justification for a public figure is that they get on with the president. Mandelson's stock is low. The chancellorship in Oxford shows that a bit. He's yesteryear and seemed to be too slippery. I think Richard has a high stock. His reputation is unsullied in the eyes of Trump. He has been an ambassador, and that Turkish dimension is very useful with what's happening in the world. And he has Iranian experience as well. He's the perfect combination of someone who understands the dynamics of a difficult world, but who has also been an ambassador. I think he's in a very strong position. He's an emollient guy. There wouldn't be a clash. Nigel West, a historian of espionage, agrees that Moore would be the better choice. I think the Prince of Darkness would be a retrograde step, he says. Moore would be a very impressive choice. I think Mandelson has so much baggage that none of it is going to go down well with Trump. Any ambassador will likely have to handle Nigel Farage as well as Trump. The Reform MP is a longtime admirer of Trump's and spent the night of the U.S. election at the president-elect's home in Mar-a-Lago, Florida. Before Farage became an MP, it was even rumored that he might be appointed ambassador himself as a kind of designated Donald whisperer. In 2016, Trump said he thought Farage would make a good ambassador, tweeting that many people would like to see @Nigel Farage represent Great Britain as their ambassador to the United States. He would do a great job. Elon Musk, who is lined up to be Trump's director of government efficiency, recently posted his belief that Reform UK would win the next general election in the UK, while it has also been suggested that Musk could become a UK citizen and donate $100 million to the party. Asked about the possible support, Farage said, "Are Trump and Elon going to support me in the run-up to 2029? Well, that's what friends are for, isn't it?" In interviews, Mandelson has positioned himself as a unifying figure. He has urged the government to use Farage as a bridgehead to the Trump administration, acknowledging the reform leader's influence. He has also told Starmer to end an ongoing dispute with Musk, which has seen the latter call the prime minister two-tier Kier, and repeatedly criticize the government on X. "You cannot just continue this feud indefinitely," he said. "You've got to get over it. You've got to." You've got to. He's got to be reintroduced to the British government. It would not be the first political appointee. Possibly the most famous is Peter Jay, the journalist who was appointed by James Callaghan's Foreign Secretary, David Owen, a friend, in 1977. Although the appointment attracted accusations of nepotism, Jay proved an effective ambassador. Ed Llewellyn, David Cameron's chief of staff, who was appointed as ambassador to France after the Brexit vote, is generally thought to have done a good job in trying circumstances. In the other direction, Trump has picked Warren Stevens, an investment banker who once ran a campaign against him before becoming a Trump donor, to be his ambassador to the UK. It has not been formally confirmed that either Moore or Mandelson has been sounded out about the role. Speaking to Laura Kunsberg last week, Mandelson said not. "I read about it in the papers, but nobody has actually spoken to me about it. So let's put it to one side," he said. "For all the speculation, it could yet be neither man." The convivial Dame Karen Pierce, the current ambassador, has forged strong ties with the Republican Party and secured Starmer and his team impressive access to the Trump administration, including a one-on-one dinner between Trump and Starmer. Although her 4-year posting is up, there has been some suggestion she may yet stay in post for what is sure to be a choppy transition. Until a decision is made, the conjecture will continue. Now that Keir Starmer has replaced Simon Case with Sir Chris Wormald as the head of the civil service, the U.S. ambassadorship is arguably the most high-profile pick remaining in his government. Whether it is the master strategist Mandelson, the super spook Moore, Pierce, or another candidate yet to be revealed, the British ambassador to Donald Trump's White House will need courtly flattery, glacial patience, and deep reserves of cunning. Even then, it may not be enough. As Kim Derrick found out, forgiveness does not always come easily to Trump. Perhaps the question is not so much who would do the job best, but who would want it in the first place.